I've been sharing a lot recently about meditations and the fact that I'm doing a lot more and a lot longer sessions, really on the back of the Joe Dispenza workshop that I did about a week and a half ago. And this morning I did a meditation, and it was one of those where I just felt like I was going through the motions. I wasn't connecting. My mind was all over the shop, and I was like, ugh. But at the same time, I was just like, no, it's all good. You know, some days are going to be like this. It's all part of the process. Let's just relax into it and just enjoy the quiet time, if you like. And it was quite interesting because some people will relate no meditation to a bad day or whatever. I never really have done, and today's a classic. So even though I felt like I hadn't achieved what I wanted to in meditation, I ended up having a pretty cool day. There was 3 things in particular where it just felt like the universe was with me and in alignment. I went and did an appointment with a client in Bristol, and it's the first time I've met them. And they're a very niche practice. They're not like a traditional accountancy practice. All they do is specialise in R&D credits for tax. So a client's tax return will already have been done, and then they are applying for credits against that bill. So they don't need all the bells and whistles that we've got in the whole suite, and they use our tax module for a very specific reason, which means they've had some issues as they've grown, because there's, you know, we've got a good tax module, but you can't be all things to all people. So that was the main reason they wanted me in, and I wanted to meet them anyway. They were really lovely people. They were very open, and I explained what's going on in the future with the company, which they were excited about. And then I suggested that I got them in touch with a product manager so they could basically voice what their needs are, and they can find out, you know, what's going to be happening in our new releases. So on the way back, I phoned our product manager. She actually answered the phone, which is rare, and explained what I was after. And she said, Mel, this couldn't be more perfect timing. She goes, I've literally just had a scoping project signed off to enhance the R&D features of our tax module in our October release. I mean, talk about perfect timing, unbelievable. So I was really pleased with that. Sent an email to the clients. If you can hear all that noise, by the way, it's about 12 young men having drinks on a pre-birthday bash. So it was just like, she goes, I can't believe the perfect time, and I was like, neither can I. But you know, when you're in a meeting, it was such a positive meeting. It was one I was dreading, actually, because I thought I was going to get an arse kicking. It couldn't have been more different. I think they were just pleased that somebody had actually come to visit them, and it was great. And I felt like I'd really achieved something for them, and I sent them an email to say, you never guess what, and I've had a great email back already. So that was one thing. Then I was talking to a friend on the phone who is going through some shit at the moment, including trying to figure out how she can separate away from her husband. The conversation's already happening, but he's not ready to let go, and she's not in a great position to be able to just move on financially. So we talked about it, and I gave her some ideas, because I know what it's like when you're in the thick of it, because I've been there myself. You know, when I was thinking about leaving my husband, I was working part-time. I didn't really have a pot to piss in, and I was like, how the hell am I going to do it? How the hell am I going to manage the house on my own, and all, you know, and all that sort of stuff? And she's going through a similar thing. So I just threw some ideas out, and she received them. She received them gratefully, and she said she was going to action one of them straight away to see where it was going to lead. So again, that was great, because she said she was feeling really strong and empowered by the end of the conversation. So I was really pleased with that. And I also actually had a conversation with my ex-husband. He phoned me today. So we are divorced, but we've not done the financial separation yet. And that's been a bit of a challenge, because he wanted more money than he'd originally agreed to. And so in the end, I just thought, okay, fine. I want to be fair. and at the end of the day, money is just energy. So we agreed on a figure, and I'm now in a position where we can basically get the legals started and be able to give him a certain amount of money and finally do this financial separation, which is a clean slate for both of us. And it means that he can, you know, because he's still on the mortgage at the moment, so it means separating that, getting him off the mortgage, so he's then free to go and do his own thing. I'm, you know, independent, fully independent, not that I'm not anyway, but, you know, to be just in my name. And we had a really nice conversation, and he was very amenable, and he was like, yeah, no problem. I'd already sent him an email with some options on, which he'd said, yeah, I'll do that. And it was all great, and there was no animosity, there was no angst. So today, it just feels like, contrary to the fact that I think we're in retrograde at the moment, yeah, just and after a pretty poor meditation in my standards, the day just really flowed. And then my boss called me, and if you've seen any of my previous emails, you know that I'm in the middle of potentially changing jobs. Haven't had a job offer yet, and the whole office was basically spreading rumours that I'd handed my notice in about a week and a half ago, which led to an awkward conversation with my boss. But I had to be honest and say that I had an interview, and he kind of was wanting to push me because he's got to sort his schedule out for the new financial year. But he never said a word about it today. I think he knows that I'll tell him when the time is right. So yeah, so today's been a really flowy day. So I guess my message really is, even if you have a bad meditation, doesn't mean you're going to have a bad day, because everything else was in alignment. So there we go. I'll leave it at that. See you on the next one. Bye.